You're listening to Real Talk with Toya, Lex, and Chris. This is a podcast where we take the time to reflect, embrace our past, talk about life, or just sit back and laugh. You'll get a front row seat of what it's really like to be in our group chat. Let's start the show. Another episode of Real Talk with Toya, Lex, and Chris. I'm Alexis.
I'm Toya.
And I'm Chris.
We are going to talk about, do you think people subconsciously go into the dating world with social norms? But first, Toya has a this or that, I think.
Yes, I do. Okay, so this week's this or that or would you rather is would you rather travel back to the past and meet your ancestors, or go to the future and hang out with your grandchildren?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So my first thought, my initial thought was go to the future and hang out with my grandchildren. But I don't know why that was my initial thought.
That was my initial thought too, until I really thought about it. And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know though, because I mean, just talking to the older generation is always amazing. Like sometimes I feel like I could have lived back in the 30s anyway. So just being able to go back and talk and just understand, like, you know, I guess where I came from would be really cool. And then just to understand like how life was different. But then if you think about the grandkids, life would still be different. And there would still be like, you know, the evolving of technology and everything. So I don't know that I can choose one.
I don't know if I can.
Well, you have to choose one.
Well, you choose it first then.
I'm choosing the going to the future.
Ancestors. Oh, going to the
I'm
future.
going to the future, yeah. If I had to choose one, I would go into the future.
It's just, I don't know. Like, that's really, because my mind goes so many different places of, will my kid even have kids? For them to
well, in the question, they would.
Okay. so we're thinking on that level. Okay.
Yes.
They definitely have them. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that's a really good one, because it's like I also think too, like, you know, if you go backwards, you can see like pieces of you, but if you go forward, you can see pieces of you in your grandkids.
I feel like going backwards, you can see why you do the things you do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God, I'm really stumped.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just off of just thinking about just the question itself and me not tangenting off in my mind, I'm gonna say the ancestors one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that.
I think that's what I'll go with.
I'm gonna
too.
go with that one.
Okay.
Final answer.
Cool. So
All right.
to all of our listeners, which one would you choose?
Girl, I almost answered again.
This time I'm gonna say
I had a slow moment.
That is funny. Okay.
Oh gosh. All right, so our topic of, do we subconsciously go into the dating world with social norms? To the answer to that question, yes. Well, I believe yes, we do as a whole. And then I also believe yes as an individual.
Yeah.
There are social norms. What those social norms are? Whew.
Yeah. I definitely think we do, just based off of how I think we go into it, based off of how we've seen other things, or how we've been told that things should be, or what your relationship should look like. So I definitely think yes, we do. And then just going by going based off of what we see on social media, if you include that aspect of it on top of what you see in your family with your, friends without the social media aspect of it, I definitely think we do.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um,
Even before social media, like
mhm,
some people definitely use that as a talking point that, hey, we do look at relationships like that. But
mhm,
if you really think about it, you are already getting preconceived notions
mhm.
prior. I know
Yep.
I was just make sure that your person does this, make sure your person does that, or make sure.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, well, Lord, that's a lot to be thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then when you actually get in it, you kind of were like,
Yeah.
well, where was my input at in
Mhm.
meeting this person and what I wanted and what I needed? Um, but you know what I noticed, that even though you get those social norms embedded in you, you're never really told about what you should look like or what
Mhm.
you should what you should bring to the table or to the relationship. I have
Mhm.
noticed that, like, it's all about what should the other person be
Mhm.
doing and handling and talking and things like that. But it's like, okay, but what about what I'm supposed to bring as
Mhm.
well? So I've noticed that as I've gotten older. Now,
Yeah.
prior, I
I
don't
think I
think
can
I
agree
even
with
thought
that.
about that.
Yeah. I think I can agree with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I
What
was just
about you,
having a
Kristen?
conversation not too long ago with some friends about, I know we're talking about dating, but it was talking about marriage and how that
Mhm.
happened with me. Um I honestly think our first year of marriage was probably the most challenging because my concept of it, my expectations of it were all based off of seeing a 30-year marriage, like
Mhm.
where it is at this point. We were just starting out, you know. I mean, it's literally almost like a baby expecting to do something that a grown up can do.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to, along with like just the expectations, I also, like, you kind of like what you were saying, like I also had to remember, um we're not them, we're not anyone but us. So what that looks like for you, even if that couple got married the exact same day that we did, it's still going to be a different path and a different journey. So I
Mhm.
had to, in my mind, also remember, this is our marriage, this is not anyone else's, it's ours.
Mhm.
So you have to make sure you pretty much erase all that stuff and figure this out for us.
Mhm.
um so yeah, and of course in the dating world, like you said, you're kind of conditioned to look for a certain type of person. And I think you're conditioned that way from what you're told, but then also your own experiences. Like once you've experienced certain things, you either look for it or you don't. And I guess the next person,
Yeah.
um and yeah, just what you see in general. So definitely, I think, yes, in all aspects, we definitely are influenced by that social norms and
Oh
go
yeah,
Yeah.
but
in
you know,
in
I
it
was
with it.
just listening to you talk about what you were saying. It's weird because you kind of lean on other people to give you advice about dating, and
Mhm.
then in your case being married. But then it's like once you get into the relationship or into the marriage, you almost got to do away with that advice. So it's like, should I even get it to begin with? Especially when you get in it, to know, okay, this is ours, this is not theirs.
Mhm.
So it's like it's very, I guess is, I don't know what word I'm trying to. It's very confusing
Hmm.
Yeah.
to me.
I would say yes, you can take the advice from others, but I still think you have to mold it into your own way of what
Yep.
actually works for you. I mean, because somebody who's been married 30 years, or maybe not been married 30 years, you have a completely different marriage. You got married on the same day, but just say like in one marriage, they're like, well, you should cook for your husband, or cater to your husband, this, that, and the other. And then on the second, it's like, but I don't want to cook. Like, I don't like to cook, or, whatever the case may be. And it's like, if my husband is okay with that, then why do I have to cook? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I'm not going to take that piece of advice from you, because that don't work in our marriage. Or if you're a stay-at-home mom and you have the time to do those things or you're a stay-at-home wife, not necessarily a mom, you're a stay-at-home wife, and you have time to do those extra things for your husband or your spouse, whatever the case may be. It's like, but then in this household, we're both working, we have a business, we're working two jobs, whatever the case may be, we have kids, then our marriage is going to look completely different from yours. So it's like, I can take pieces of the knowledge, but not necessarily doing the exact same things that you're doing. So I think you have to make it fit for your marriage, but you can still take some of the advice from other people. I mean, I never think it's too you can learn too much about anything, but maybe it's just not that time for you to take that piece of advice. Like, maybe that's advice that I'm gonna take 5 years from now, versus on day one of marriage. So I think you can do
Exactly.
both.
Yeah. I mean, I think advice is great. And like you said, Alexis, like, because I think we all have advice to give too. Because you want to share your experiences with people, because we all do feel like there's value in sharing your experiences, because you can help people. Oh shoot. You can help people, whatever the case is, but at the same time, we as people, when taking the advice, have to be able to decipher, sift through it, and figure out what works and what doesn't. What we
Yeah.
need to take, because even like with kids, and you get all the advice and stuff. Yeah, cool. I needed a lot of it, but then some of it I found worked for us, some of it didn't. So I think too, just giving that advice, like being able to say that, like, listen, this may not work for you, but this is what I experienced, and this is what. So yep,
Do you
agree.
in the relationship, in the marriage, do you sift through it together, or do you do it as an individual? Because say, hey, I'm seeking advice from another person that's dating or in a relationship or married, and I'm the only one taking it in, and then I try to apply it, and it's like, oh, but that's not working. Is that more so because I'm the only one that's seeking it and got it that way, or you know what I mean? Like, how do like so I guess with you, Kristen. So say you take some advice from your parents. Do you take that advice and do you and Xavier talk about it together to figure out if this is something that you guys should try, or do you just say, I'm just gonna try it and just see? You see what I'm saying? You
Oh
see how
yeah.
it can be like, oh, well, I tried what they said and I tried to do it the way that I felt I could do it, but it didn't work. Do you step back and say, oh, well, that's because I was the only one trying it? I
Mm-hmm.
was the only one that was, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff that I be wondering, like, how do you create that balance? Or
So I
how do
actually
you?
had that happen, like trying to
Mm,
force stuff, and then realizing, like you said, okay, this can't be one sided. I mean, I think some things, like for instance, for me, like Xavier still to this day does not believe in love languages. He don't think he has one, but I know he does, and I know what it is. And when
mm,
so in my mind, I know what to do, and I can
mm,
tell,
mm,
so that would be a piece of, not necessarily from my parents, but a piece of advice that I got from someone who I've implemented it. I've told him about it, but because he doesn't believe
yeah.
in it, then pretty much I do it. I try to work in that. And so I guess in that regard, that particular thing has worked.
Yeah.
But like as far as like with my parents, it was a flop. And then I had to talk about it with him. And I honestly think that conversation went, well, baby, that's them. Like it really went to that. And I was like, okay, you're right. I think honestly it was the cooking thing, trying to force that. And he's like, it's okay. I don't love you any less. I'm good. Like we eat differently. And it's really fine.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be the way our house is. Like, you don't have to cook. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
I think social norms or preconceived notions really does set up individual self up for rejection, and that hurts. So I mean, just like you wanting to implement cooking for your husband the way you did see that growing up as a wife, a mother, or whatever, and knowing, oh my God, this is, I can't wait to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You take it into a relationship thinking that this is a norm of
Mm-hmm.
what we do, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, this didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? You know what I mean? And so it's like, no, it's no, I don't think it's no fault to anybody because everybody's doing what they feel is best. But I do
Mm-hmm.
know growing up in them times, that was implemented for the woman, period. Because
Mm-hmm.
it was limited roles for what women could do.
Yep.
And we live in a society now where it's like, oh, either she cooks or she doesn't cook. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like if you take that into something that doesn't even want that there, it's like, oh my God, you just stabbed my heart. Because
Mm-hmm.
I would feel that way. Like if I was someone that was like, oh, I'm tidy, I'm clean, I like da 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 da, to someone that's like, well, I don't really care about that. But I pride myself on that.
That would draw the line for me.
But but that's
I would be like,
like,
oh my God, Lord.
you know what I mean? Like that would hurt me. Like, wait, what you
It's Toya,
mean?
you wouldn't be you that they'd have to compromise on that one.
Uh,
Toya wouldn't compromise that.
Man, no, no.
yeah, me either. That would
And I
hurt
mean, and I
me
try not
though.
to say what I won't do in a relationship in a marriage because those words come back to
Yeah,
bite. But listen, mm-mm.
it's
And I
hard.
be thinking about that too. I be like, what? Like, what if this person is like that? And I'll be like, Lord, like I start sweating just at the thought of like somebody
Yeah,
being like a messy
person.
person, like because y'all just know like how meticulous I am. And
Mhm.
I would just be like, Lord, I be praying hard about stuff because I'll
Yeah,
be like,
you
Lord,
would.
don't
Look, manifest it. Manifest your
like,
person.
but then I'm like, am I being selfish? But I'm not being selfish.
Not with that. No.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
But then it's like, will I give, like, what are the things that I am willing to compromise on? Because y'all know I'm pretty much a straightforward type of person. It's like, what are those things that I am willing to compromise on? And I don't know if I have any
I'm about
of
to
those
say, do you
things.
have any?
No, I don't
Oh,
know what are those things that I will be willing to compromise on.
okay, let's see.
yeah.
And I'm
Let's
like, I don't know. I just think I might just need to stay single because
no.
I don't know. Like, I honestly, y'all, I'm not even trying to be funny. And I know we talk about relationships a lot and me being single a lot on this podcast, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. And I really be trying to sit with myself like, okay, Toya, like, what are some things that you really desire and what are some things that you cannot like compromise on?
What in your past relationships, what are just certain things that just like took you over the edge that you know, like name them. Like what
That took me over the edge.
or got you to this point like I can't.
Um, I don't I don't like cleaning bathrooms, but I don't like cleaning bathrooms after people. Like I already don't like cleaning bathrooms because I just think that's like the nastiest place ever. But
Mhm.
I don't like cleaning them after people. And like if you don't keep it up, it can get worse. Like so cleaning the bathroom thing, that's always been can you just clean the bath? Just clean the bathroom, just clean the shower, can you just clean it? Or like just leaving
Poor
stuff
Toya.
around. Like that's just one of my things, just like leaving stuff just like just
Yeah.
around. Just why you just can't pick this up? Like that would be like, I mean, honestly, like those are like the things that I can like think of. That's
That's
like,
off the yeah. Now bathroom is like a top one that I can't compromise. You get your own either you get your own house or you get your own bathroom. Like not sharing
Yeah.
at all. Out of the question. So I feel you on
Yeah.
that one. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'd be really trying to
well.
think, but I don't know.
This is the end of part 1. Tune in next week for part 2 of Can You Date with Social Norms and Still Be Yourself?
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Real Talk with Toya, Lex, and Chris. We'll talk to you soon.